We are looking to buy, but when we see homes in 2020 bought for 200K and selling for 500K, the sellers can F off. Overpriced as HE double hockey sticks. Can't wait for a crash. I'm reading one of the comments right now, guys, from last week on our YouTube channel. And this is the sentiment that a lot of people are rolling with right now when discussing the Phoenix housing market and which way it's going. You're on one side or you're on the other, and which side are you? Well, we're going to lay out the facts again today in a different way, covering a little bit different of a topic, and we'll let you decide what the housing market is going to do here over the next couple of months or even over the next 6 months. Now, the Fed is set to meet tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow is Wednesday, the 18th of June. And there's not expected to be much of anything going on there. In fact, they expect that the Fed will keep rates where they currently are. But what they are really interested, the speculators, right, and the prognosticators, what they're really interested in is finding out any little tidbits that Jerome Powell might talk about or hint or drop to that will give them an idea where rates may be heading the next month. Because what if rates get down below 5 or 6%? Could happen. Probably not real soon, but what if over the next, 6 months that happens? That would be interesting. But some of you guys are, some of you guys are brutal on the comment section, but I love it. I love it because I can take it. I'm not always right, number one. I know that. Trust me, ask my wife. But in addition to that, I sometimes am right, but maybe I'm just lucky, or maybe I'm just right because I follow the data. I don't know. You guys get to decide, but I love the comments. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Matter of fact, comment on this live if you don't mind, because I will love to answer your questions and make this a two-way conversation. Let me know where you're watching from. I love to see where people are watching from. It helps the algorithm kind of curate the content as best as possible. But we're going to dive in right now because we got some good stuff here, guys. As always, we spend a lot of time researching to make sure we bring you value on this show for the next 20 to 25, 30 minutes. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to actually talk about where we currently stand. All right. Now I'm going to start with this. This actually the comment page here, show you a couple comments of what was happening this past week. Okay. Because it's interesting. Now, this is the first one I just highlighted right here. And it's interesting because they're upset that the prices are where they are. And guys, listen, I'm not happy about it because if I could buy a house for $500,000 instead of $1 million or 200 instead of 5, I would love that too. I mean, who wouldn't, right? But again, it's all relative based upon inflation. It's all relative based upon wage growth. We're going to cover a couple of those topics here today as well, and let you know where that currently stands, right? Okay, here we go. John Doe, realtor's been talking about this mythological rates in the 5 skin since late 2022. Some realtors have, that's true. You guys make me laugh. Well, thank you for watching, John Doe. What a great name, by the way. Very unique. And I appreciate the comment. Some realtors have been saying that. And if you listen and go back and watch all the replays, what I've said is if they go with a 5 in front of it, it could get interesting. I didn't say it would happen, but what I do know is I've been doing this 20 years here, John Doe, and everything is cyclical. So it will happen again. Now, maybe that will be 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, because the average market cycle in Phoenix is 7 years. The average economic cycle in America is about 7 years, 7, 8 years. So, it will happen again. That's almost a fact. Now, is it going to happen in the next 3 or 4 months? No. Is it going to happen next 6 or 12? Probably not, but it could. It depends on what's going on, guys. Last time I checked, there's a little bit of an escalation in the Middle East. Global uncertainty is happening now, more so than it has been as of this week. So there's all kinds of things, John, that could get it to actually get into the 5s. But I did not say it is going to be in the 5s. I'm saying that it will be at some point in the future. And when that happens, if it happens in the next, say, 12 months, it will generate and spur the economic supply of housing in Phoenix. I can't speak for other cities across America, but for housing in Phoenix, it will, because we know it to be true based upon data. Okay. Oh, here we go. John, does the cycle you speak of only include booms or busts as well? No, it includes bust as well. And unfortunately, our government has been propping up our economy for too long over the past several years with quantitative easing. We did have a bust it was very short-lived with COVID for about 3-4 months, and then we had this V bounce, right? And then it went crazy. But we had probably the worst economic bust, if you will, John, since the Great Recession, when we had the Great Depression. We had the Great Recession in 2008 through 2012-ish, okay? That wasn't your typical, just like, it dipped a little bit. That dipped bad. I mean, Phoenix went down in some cases 80% in some areas of Phoenix, right? That was significant. So when you come up 30%, like, holy crap, we went up 30%, that's really good. Well, if you're down 80, going up 30%, it isn't that much. So to have our economy go to where it was pretty significant. Now, I'm going to show you something right here, John, okay? I didn't have this plan, but I'm going to show it to you real time. Everyone can see it. Here we go, because I love this conversation. We can talk about this all the time. I'm not saying I'm right. You might be right, John, but I'm going to show you this one here because this is fantastic. You may not have watched this. Look at this graph here, John. Everybody watching, tune in right now. Look at this graph. John Doe, I'm talking to you here, okay? We're having a good conversation, spirited. I love it, okay? And I respect your opinion. I do, okay? But here we go. Here's the increase of the cycle right here. See that? That's because all realtors want to do is sell houses, right? So there we go. There's our increase. Cool. Awesome. That was 2006, right? Before it busted, okay? And here's your bust, John. There's a cycle. There's your cycle right here, okay? And went all the way down from 275. All right, all the way down to 113 in 2012. Big time bust. And then it still started to increase and increase and increase and increase, and it spiked right before rates crazy, and it went back down, and we've been doing this last couple of years. So there's a boom, there's a bust. This is 25 years. This is January of 2000 right here, this first plot. Now, what this says is that if you take all the appreciation over the last 25 years in Phoenix and you actually average it out, Phoenix actually had a median appreciation yearly of 5.3% per year. The high was 32.9. You see it right here. The low was negative 41.4. But if you take a straight line of 5.3, which was the average for over a 25-year cycle, okay, that's not my opinion, you get to a point where you are right here at a median price point of $450,000, which is almost identical to where it is today, even with all the ups and all the downs and the comebacks and the downs, okay? High inflation, low rates, high rates. So to sit there and say this doesn't include a cycle is not true, okay? And rates will go up and rates will come back down, and then they'll go back up again, and so on and so forth, okay? Here we go. John, it's very simple. Affordability must improve. If rate declines aren't that vehicle, then prices must be. Agree or disagree? If rate declines aren't that vehicle, okay, well, they will be, okay? Number one, they'll be part of the story. Then prices must be. Correct. Prices will be. I do agree with that. So prices would have to come down if rates don't over time, unless they just decide to stop building houses at the same clip they are. Because last time I checked, people are going to continue to still have babies, and so something's going to have to give, right? And that, I'm going to talk about that here today too, John, because we have rental rates to talk about also, okay? But I'm glad you brought this up. So if affordability must improve, okay, or wage growth must increase, right? One of the two, one of those three. But let's look at the commentary because this goes a lot right along with what you're saying. Here we go. I got some stuff to show you guys, some cool stuff. But look at this. To John's point, okay? Let me go back to here and let me pull up the commentary section right here. Got it highlighted for you. There are three main measures that affect housing affordability. Exactly what John's talking about, guys. Okay. Mortgage rates, home values, and income. Okay. John talked about home values and rates. I just mentioned wage growth, income. Well, those are the three right there. Okay. Now, in the past, when home values rose too fast for incomes to catch up, it was mortgage rates that adjusted and brought payments back into range. But in this cycle, rates have proven to be unreliable and a volatile ally. Okay. The housing industry has been waiting 3 years for mortgage rates to decline and save the day. Us realtors have too, right? I mean, I guess so, because we like to sell houses, right? It's our job. And as more time goes by without relief, the more pressure there is on home prices, to John's point, and incomes, my point, in order to increase demand. It is finally happening. Here we go. Recent reports from the Federal Reserve of Atlanta state that wage growth grew nationally at a rate of 4.3%, higher than the current 2.4% rate of inflation. Meanwhile, Phoenix, the Business Journal reported a whopping 9.3% wage increase from 24-25. Combine that with the local Phoenix rate of inflation of only 0.3%, and that means workers get to keep the majority of their wage increases. That's interesting. Okay. All right, John, here we go. John, I love not trying to be a jerk. I don't take it at all. You seem to be a rare breed of honest. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that, John. Buyers are just tired of manipulative agents and their tactics to get us over leverage. Okay, John, can I let you know a little secret? I am too. I'm being honest. I am too. There's a lot of not the best ones in our industry. I guess every industry has that segment of people, right? Where it's like, but there are some good agents. The problem is there's way more bad than probably good. And so there you go, right? It kind of overshadows that. So anyways, but thank you for saying that, John. I really appreciate that. Do you know any private sector where wages are growing meaningfully? Private sector well, meaningfully. I guess that's kind of right now I would say for Arizona, the tech industry, definitely. The healthcare industry is as well. So those are two. But I don't have any data to support that. That's a good question. I can maybe find that data for next week's show if that works for you. Because that's a good question to ask. Because think about it, if you're a job seeker, you probably want to go where the wage growth is good, right? So you probably would like to know those industries are. So that's good. I'll find that data, scrub it, and try to deliver it for you guys next week on the show. Okay. But thanks, John. Appreciate it. Here we go. So meanwhile, Phoenix is entering its 8th month as a buyer's market. 8th month. Overall price inflation is flat with 1% of last year and lower than 2.4% rate of inflation, with expectations that it may start gliding slowly down over the next few months. Affordable properties under $500K, which made up 58% of last month's sales, have already seen prices drift down 2.2% year over year. Going down. Okay. The combination of wage increases, low inflation, and declining price measures in the most popular ranges means affordability is improving. Although they went down, it is improving without a massive decline in mortgage rates. That's good. That's a good thing, right? It's also creating an environment where buyer contract activity could increase sharply if mortgage rates were to adjust downward over the summer. No guarantee they will. But if they do, this could be a great combination. Why? Again, going back to the 3 horsemen: mortgage rates, home values, and income. Okay. Home values, mortgage rates, and income. Okay. So guys, what do you think about that? Any comments? John, thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. Guys, I'll have a spirited debate with anybody, and I don't think anyone's being a jerk. I appreciate the compliment too. Thank you, John, for doing it. I really sincerely mean that. And I know I'm not always right, but what I will do is find the data to try to support an opinion or a factual statement, I guess, on either side of the coin or whatever the argument is. Okay. So that's that. Now I'll share my screen. I'm going to jump in and show you a couple more things because we have a lot to cover here, guys. We have a lot to cover here. Let's talk about condos really quick. Okay. While the market is nowhere near as cold as it was between 2006 and 2009, we are recording several indicators that tell us it is worse for condo and townhouse sellers than at any time in January, since January 2011. Guys, I'll give you a real example. We were helping a client sell a property. Now, she used a different agent to buy the property, and unfortunately got in at the wrong time, and paid a certain amount of price. Well, I'll tell you the price point was, I think, $469 that was paid for the property. By the time we got a hold of her, we did our data analysis on it, and we said, okay, you need to be around 400. So we went there, and the property just wouldn't sell. And we had to make an adjustment on the pricing 2 times. The problem was that everyone else in the building that was also selling a property did what? They were more motivated than we were because they were just dropping. They had to sell, apparently, otherwise they wouldn't drop so much. Well, they did so, and every time they dropped significantly, and it created a sell in the complex. Guess what it did for everyone else's values? You got it. Not good. And so we were sitting there. We were in like the penthouse, right? We're at the top floor of this building, and so you should demand a little bit higher price. That's how it kind of works with condo pricing. But nonetheless, we still had to stay proportionate to where everyone else was selling, and that meant coming down and down and down. And my client just was not willing to do so, which is totally fine. So now we're going the route of renting it, which would be good to see if we can get a 1-year tenant in there. And then we'll see where the market's at in a year from now. But right now, one thing is for sure, in the condo market, it's challenging. It is tough, guys. Okay. And this article is saying this right here. Okay. So what it's saying is that the success rate, the listing success rate is a core factor. And for condos, it dropped to 58%, meaning that only 58% of all condos in the greater Phoenix area that were non-distress actually sold. That's not good. But check it out, guys. In from June 06 to July of 2011, it was a shocking all-time low of 16%. 16% of all condos sold in that time period. That's how bad the market was in the Great Recession. Okay, speaking of which, here's an article from the Phoenix Business Journal, which I thought was appropriate. High-rise apartment boom reshapes Phoenix urban core. So now you have these high-rise condos that are not selling well right now. So what are some of these developers doing? They're building and or converting it may be a building that would be all sales 5 years ago to units that can be short-term rented out, which is kind of rare, right, in Phoenix area for VRBOs or Airbnbs. Also, apartments that they can be rented, not just sold as condos to single owners. So they're pivoting to do a lot of stuff. But here are the different projects. And guys, it's cool. I mean, I love it because they're trying to revamp the downtown Phoenix area to be more urban. Because it's always been more spread out and not that way. But you have the Palm Tower, you have Sky on 6, Moon Tower, the Ave Phoenix Sky. Guys, I have all these. The Ave Phoenix Sky is my favorite development, and I am going to actually go down there and do a video for you guys so you can see inside, behind the curtain, all the amenities, and if you were to live there, what that experience might be like. Okay, so I'm gonna go check that out and do a video for you guys and show it to you on this channel. So stay tuned for that. But you have a lot of projects happening in downtown Phoenix, and yet they're not selling well right now. So developers are pivoting. Now let's look at where we stand today on hardcore data. Now, this is general. This is all over Maricopa County, which is the entire Phoenix area for the most part. Okay, and you have right now, right here, the big one: months of supply. 4.1%. I was just talking to a good buddy and client of mine, and it feels like it should be 6, 7, 8 months, but it's not. It's 4.1, meaning if no other homes came onto the market for sale, which is never going to happen in a market that's 5 million people, but if they didn't, all the properties would be gone. There'd be no homes for sale, be sold in 4.1 months. So it's not terrible, guys. If you got the 7 months, 6 months, 7 months, that would be not so good. Okay. And then you can see all the other stats here if you want to look at this, but you have an appreciation median monthly of appreciation rate of 0. It's flat. Okay. So which is better than negative, like 5 or something, right? You have an appreciation annual median of 2.3. So we're up from June to June. Okay. That's not bad. I'll take that. Right. But it's not, the trend is not our friend right now. Okay. That's for sure. And you can see the median price for monthly sales is $450, for annual sales is $449, right where this graph had us. Okay. By taking a 5.3 appreciation rate, averaging over 25 years, it puts us at the same spot we are today after all the zigzagging of going up and crashing and back up and crash. So still not bad, because that's about where we should be today if it was a straight line, smooth selling market for the last 25 years. Just think about that. That's powerful. That's powerful. Okay. Okay. I love this name. Bebop. What's happening? What do you see about rents from all these developments? Okay. This is a great question because I am teed up ready for you in this one. It's almost like I had telepathy. Is that what it's called? Yeah. I can actually see into the future. I can't. And knew you were going to ask this question because I'm ready to roll for you. Here we go. Let me share my screen and let's talk about rents. Okay. Here we go. Real data. Okay. You guys have seen this real data here. So you don't have to worry about me making something up off the top of my head. I am an honest realtor, like John said. Okay. I appreciate that still, John. That's probably the best compliment I've got in a long time because that's what I'm trying to do with my career and delivering value to the marketplace. Being honest is a core principle to delivering value to the marketplace. Here we go. Monthly average lease price. This is all Maricopa County here, all right, excluding VRBOs and Airbnbs, which is good. You don't want that. You want real data from just long-term rentals. Where are rent rates lying? And to answer your question, Bebop, here we go. Okay. We have a flat market sitting at $1.36 a square foot for rent rates in Maricopa County. And look, guys, here's the interesting part. Now, first of all, there's a seasonality to this. You guys know this? Look at it. What month is that? August 21. The high point here, August 22. The high point here, August 23. And we're right here, went up a little bit into May, the last reading on this. So when we get to August of 25, I would anticipate, unless something's going to be off, that we're going to have a spike and rates. That will be the pinnacle of the high rent rate season for Phoenix. And guys, it's hot, but people are still renting houses because people typically rent in the summertime. That's just kind of how it works, okay? Bebop, here we go. Why is this so different from Zillow rent reports? Zillow is showing declines. Well, Bebop, I would say that it's a good question. I would say because this right here is economic data from the most reliable economic housing stat source for Phoenix, Arizona. They don't operate in Portland or Denver or anywhere else, right? For Phoenix, Arizona. And Zillow is not the most accurate place to go. It is, and that goes for the Zestimate. That goes for the properties that are on the market for sale. That goes for a lot, okay? So Zillow is a great place to start a search and look at properties, and they do a good job from a lot of different angles or aspects. But when it comes to data, they are not necessarily wrong in some cases, but they're way off in other cases, right? Whereas a company like this is just data. They don't care about how it looks to the consumer. They don't care about these other things, right? Making money, because people like me pay them a subscription every single month, no matter what, right? They just pull data, give cool dashboards and reports. So this is the most accurate information by far for Phoenix. Okay. So, this is residential rentals. Okay. Yeah. It is. That's 100% right. But condos, not apartment buildings. Good. So good point, Bebop. Condos count for this. Okay. Apartment buildings, like the big ones that have 500 units, that kind of stuff, do not. They're not included in here. That is correct. That is a good catch. Okay. Now let me share my screen here. Here we go. We got some more stuff here regarding rents. Here we go. This is from the Phoenix Business Journal. And apartment occupancy. Apartments. Here we go. Bebop. Here we go. Hold steady, but one metric slows across U.S. major markets. What is that one metric? Guess what it is? Right there. You got it. Rental rate increases. Okay. So rents are not going up, but to what we just showed, they aren't going up here either. They're flat, in a long 4-year period here. Okay. So across America, it's the same thing that everyone else is experiencing. U.S. apartment occupancy held steady at 95.7% in May. So hopefully, Bebop, I'm getting you some answers here on a macro level as well for apartment complexes. Okay. Apartment occupancy across the U.S. held firm in May, but rental rate increases are not going up. Okay. And they show the places that have the most. Where is it? I read it earlier, guys. Let me find it right here for you. Austin, Texas, their rent Austin, Texas is they're getting hit hard right now. Overall market for housing. But Phoenix right here had a decline of 4.9%. 4.9%. So that is good information for anybody who might be looking to go rent an apartment. You have the leverage on your side, and that goes the same for the most part if you're going to look at or rent a single family house as well. Okay. So the outlook is mixed on affordable housing is what they're talking about. Affordable housing is the key word. A lot of people are developing luxurious apartments and multifamily projects, but that's not helping the affordable side of things, because again, it's all about profit, unfortunately. Here we go, guys. But speaking of profit and the luxury side of things, check this out. Phoenix sees a surge in millionaire renters as high earners embrace the amenities lifestyle. Guys, this is crazy, right? Adeline is a 25-story building, with a bunch of luxury for rent residences in downtown Phoenix. It's one of those big buildings. Okay. Now, Phoenix ranks 6th nationally for millionaire renter growth, increasing by 519%, guys. That's huge. Okay. So millionaires are now opting to rent because of the uncertainty right now in the housing market, as opposed to spending $2, $3, $4, $5 million, $6 million on some properties. But it is a temporary thing, in my opinion. Okay. Also they're wanting. Not every millionaire wants the lifestyle of the amenities. Walk down, get your coffee, have your dry cleaning ready to go. A lot do, but a lot will still want the yard. They want the space as well. And that's why they come to Phoenix for the most part. Now, Phoenix is seeing the increase of people who want that lifestyle. And so that is a big thing. But overall, the amount of millionaires coming to Phoenix in general is going through the roof that want all types of housing product. I did an article on Scottsdale is the number 2 city in the entire world behind a city in China, in the entire world, that has the highest increase of millionaires coming to its city, guys, for population influx. Number 2 in the world for millionaires. A lot of wealth and luxurious living. People want that lifestyle coming to Scottsdale, okay? So that is a good thing for the housing market, or at least for Scottsdale, right? It's going to keep property values propped up in the long term, at least. Right now, if you want to jump into the housing market on the more affordable side in Scottsdale, that makes that a little more of a challenge, no question. But if you are a homeowner currently in Scottsdale and you want those values to maintain, it's a good chance it's going to, okay? At least generally speaking. All right. So I got some more stuff here to show you guys. I'm on fire right now. I got a lot of stuff to go over with you guys, as I think this is some good stuff that we are covering. Okay. Most expensive Phoenix area luxury apartments. While we're on that note, I'll just show you a couple. Number 1, Optima Kierland. Number 1, most expensive apartments to rent. And it tells you the rental rate, right? $4,100 on the high end for a 1-bedroom there. Wow. But you're in prime location, amenities, the whole 9 yards, right? Then you have phase 3, which is right behind it. Then you have Central Old Town Scottsdale on Main, Broadstone Waterfront, which is in Old Town Scottsdale, Sultra, Kierland, again in the Kierland area, guys. So what do we have in the top 6? We have, let's keep going here. We have top 6, top 7, top 8, kind of top 9. So these top 9 are all either in the Central Scottsdale, Kierland, Scottsdale Quarter area, or in Old Town / downtown Scottsdale. So that tells you right there where a lot of the people with money and the amenity living want to go. Now, right behind it, the Moon Tower is number 10 in downtown Phoenix. And we just talked about downtown Phoenix being a big draw for that, as well as the Biltmore area, which is just north of the downtown area for the most part. Okay, moving on, guys. Some more stuff to talk about. Listing success rate. If you want to sell your house and you live in one of these suburbs, this is the average of the success rate broken down per suburb. This is a cool graph. If you want this graph, I can email it to you, DM me, or hit me up on social media, Instagram at Kelly Cook Homes. Give me a like there, and I'll get this stuff over to you, no problem. But look at Peoria, 73.2%. So it means 73% of all the homes that go on the market in Peoria are selling currently today. Okay. Mesa, big suburb, 70.4. Guys, let's go down a little further. How about let's go Goodyear in the West Valley, 71%. You got Cave Creek up in the Northeast Valley, 69%. Phoenix at 70%. 7 out of 10 listings that go on the market in Phoenix are still selling today, even though demand is low. Okay. Scottsdale, 64%, Fountain Hills, 65% in the East Valley. So that is a cool graph to show you guys to track this. It's not going the right direction, but it's still well above 50%. Okay. And then sell to list price ratio. If you're going to put your house on the market, Kelly, I get this question all the time, guys. What could I probably expect to get for my house if I were to sell it? Well, I would go off the data, and I would start off by telling you, as a foundation, 97.2%. Why? Because that's what the graph just says. That's the data, not my feelings about a certain thing. Then, of course, I'd break it down per not just the city, but the zip code, the subdivision, and, of course, model matches or like for like in the area, like an appraiser would do. But 97.2% is the baseline right here for that question. Okay, now let's talk about some affordability real quick. This is interesting, okay? This is an article from Yahoo Finance, 10 cities where it's easiest for renters, speaking of which, to take the leap into homeownership. If you wanted to get out of the rental race and you were okay leaving Phoenix, which I hope you don't do, please stay here. No, I love our town, so I'm sure most people will stay here. In fact, the population will tell you that we have a higher influx and outflux for sure. So, but here they are. I want to show this to you guys because it's interesting. Here they are. Let's go through it really quick. Des Moines, Iowa, number 1. Minneapolis, Indianapolis, Morgantown, West Virginia, Charleston, pretty cool town. Charleston, South Carolina. If you had never visited Charleston, I would highly recommend it. It's pretty cool, historical, on the water town. Fargo, North Dakota. Okay. Huntsville, Alabama. Pittsburgh. Grand Rapids, Michigan. Cool downtown area. Kansas City, Missouri rounds it out. Then if you keep going, this is interesting. Barbara Corcoran, I'm going to just throw you a curveball here, guys. Barbara Corcoran says now might be the best time to buy a house. Why did she say that? All right, Big Mac, what's going on? How's Peoria doing? Okay. Well, we just hit that, right? Peoria's doing pretty well in terms of the list to sell price ratio. They are at 71%. So thanks for asking that question. But Barbara Corcoran, check it out, guys. Monkey wrench here. She says you might want to buy a house now. Why? Well, because here comes John. Don't shoot the messenger. This is Barbara Corcoran talking, not me. But she says, she didn't say it's going to happen, but she said if rates come down with a 5 in front of it, look out. Right here. The minute interest rates drop and come to anything with a 5 in front of it, the whole world is going to jump back into the market, said Corcoran. Woo! So we could have the opposite problem if that happens. Low interest rates, however, present a few issues when buying a home. The first is that there are no houses available to buy. And the second is that the home prices will go up as soon as they hit the market, with Corcoran predicting a 10 to 15% price increase if rates get down with a 5 in front of it. Hello. Wow. I mean, I guess that would not be good for home affordability, right? So maybe the rates should still stay high for a little bit longer. Oops. Sorry, guys. Let me get off the screen. All right. That's all I'm going to show you for that. Let's go over to Redfin. Here we go. This is an interesting article that Redfin published. If I can get my my computer to cooperate here. But it talks about home buyers' down payments are shrinking for the first time in almost 2 years as housing market cools, because we know it's cooling down, right? But the good news is when that happens, down payments decrease too. And there's your graph, okay? So median down payment falls for the first time in nearly 2 years. That's really cool. Typical homeowner puts down 15%. Did you know that? 15%, not 20, 15. I'm surprised it's not lower, frankly, because there are good loan programs with 5 or 10% down, or even 3.5% down if you're going FHA. But there's MI with that mortgage insurance. So call me 480-660-5974 if you have any questions about what that all means. Okay. That's Redfin with that article. And that is an interesting one. So anyways, Bebop, wow, big real estate investor telling people to buy who would, okay, yeah, she's a big real estate investor, guys. And I don't know, she probably has some angle, I'm sure, right? But she says, wow, big real estate investor telling people to buy who would have thought. Yeah. I hear your sarcasm there. Trust me. Okay. So asking rents are falling in 28 major U.S. metros, the most since 2023. Now I'm hammering rents because there's an opportunity there too as well. If you don't want to buy, that's totally cool. Right now, it doesn't work for your situation. Renting is a good option too, because maybe your timing is not right to buy, but also because rents are getting cheaper across most American places. Whether you want to rent an apartment or a condo or a single family house, across most major markets, as according to the article in Redfin right there, rents are going down as well. So even if they aren't going down in the area you want to rent, because we just saw in Phoenix, for single family houses or condos or townhouses that are owned by a single owner, let's call it, they're holding fairly steady. You still have negotiating power. You still have the ability to ask for maybe, like, a little more flexible terms when you first move in, that sort of thing, right? And trust me, guys, I'm a real estate investor I'm not even close to Barbara Corcoran's level, but I'm a real estate investor. I do own rental houses, and I can tell you, boots in the ground, it has been a little bit harder to lease properties that I own that once went for X that are not quite going for X anymore. So, and it's not major, at least for my properties, but it is, either staying steady or it's going down $50 a month, $100 a month, something like that. So it is a real thing, guys. Okay. Now, a couple more things. Where are rates? Speaking of that, let me share my screen here, guys, and we'll talk about rates. Rates are currently at 6.88%, 6.88% as of Mortgage News Daily. You can see it right here. The 30-year fix is there, and it's actually dropped a little bit, which is good. Okay. And then last but not least, in my few minutes remaining, I'm going to hit up a couple articles I think are good about what's going on around Phoenix. Okay. Arizona cities face longer commutes as national averages creep toward pre-pandemic levels. Why? Because of the return to office policies. But there's a picture of one of the interstates in Phoenix. And here are the story highlights real quick. Commute times in U.S. cities reached 26.9 minutes. This is valuable information, guys. Some of you guys don't live here in the Phoenix area. What would that be in your city? Well, in Phoenix, 26.9 minutes, the average commute time. Phoenix and Mesa have seen significant increases in commute times since 22. 87% of Arizona drivers commute alone. If that could be bumped or that could go down, that would be good, because then you obviously can carpool and you get faster in HOV lane and all that fun stuff, right? But this is now, guys, listen, I'll be honest with you. I travel a lot, and that doesn't mean I'm there on the whole year, right? So I get it. But in traveling a lot, I can tell you that the traffic compared to most other major cities, top 10, top 15 cities in America, is actually not that bad, especially this time of year when a lot of snowbirds are not here anymore. It's actually not that bad. It moves pretty well. Just being truthful. That's not a sell on you should come to Phoenix. I'm just being honest with you. That's the real data, though. 26.9. Okay. And so that makes a lot of sense. All right, here we go. Bebop, what's going on here? How can I search a real estate agent's sales records in Arizona? Is this public record? Okay, good question, and thank you for asking. This is one of the big things because some people don't give accurate stats on this. Any other real estate agent could do it for you, and so I've done it for clients as well in the past. And what I do is I actually film, either screen share it or just take my iPhone and literally film while I do it, so they can see I'm not manipulating numbers. Do the search, boom, 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 pull production. There it is, black and white. So any agent can do it for another agent that has access to MLS data. But if you don't have that or another agent to do it, then the next best place is probably Zillow, and that's not that accurate. Because sometimes the way the agent gets recorded on the sale is not accurate. And that happens a lot, especially if you're helping someone buy a house. It doesn't get recorded sometimes because you're relying on the listing agent to record it accurately, since they're the one in control of that listing. So there's all kinds of these different ways why sometimes it cannot get recorded correctly, but it will give you at least an idea, because if they, close 20 deals a year, they'll probably have at least 15 on there, that sort of thing, right? So anyways, go to Zillow, look up the profile, and that's the next best thing you can do at this point. Okay. Okay, Bebop. So I got a name here for you. Okay, cool. Yeah, Bebop, hit me up if you don't mind. Can you DM me at Kelly Cook Homes on Instagram, at Kelly Cook Homes, and I'll get that information right over to you. I guarantee, I promise you that. Okay. Otherwise, you can give me a call too. That's cool too. I'd love to take a call from anybody as well. All right, guys, I'm going to share my screen and do a couple more articles, because this is interesting. This is not all great news and fuzzy cats and rainbows here, right? But here we go. Intel plans more job cuts in July as part of ongoing workforce reduction efforts. So I got a comment on the 20% of the workforce. Boom, there you go. But they're also undergoing a $32 billion expansion to create jobs. So interesting, right? So I got a comment about that on my YouTube channel, guys. And this guy was hammering the fact that housing market's going to go down and blah, 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 because here's one reason. Well, this is true. Now they have a new CEO, and his job is to do that. His job is to cut the fat. And then after they get down to where they need to be, then to start rehiring organically as they grow, as they need it to be more efficient. But every business does it. It just has a spotlight on it because it's Intel. It's the corporate headquarters in Chandler, Arizona. That is going to have a temporary, though. Is that going to have a temporary, not so good effect, negative effect? Yeah, of course. I'm not sugarcoating that whatsoever. Long term, it will be good for that company and probably good for all the housing and local economy in that area in Chandler. So that's all I'm trying to say. But there's no doubt right now they're slashing. And that could affect some people having to sell their houses in the Chandler area that live there, that currently work in for Intel. Okay, guys, 2 more articles and we're out of here. Okay, Arizona's largest utility files for rate increases, citing rising operational costs, guys. So this is one more. I don't have solar on my house, but guys, I am seriously considering it. I've been considering it for a long time, and then just didn't do it because some of the government incentives ran out. But I probably should rekindle that flame and at least look into it, because at least with solar, you're locked in for 20 years, right? In terms of part of your rate that you will pay or not have to pay. With the utility companies, like every city, they're pretty much a monopoly. If they want to raise the rates, they're probably going to do it, and you don't have a say in it. So APS is seeking a 14% revenue increase, potentially raising residential bills 14.5%. That's a lot. That's a lot, especially in the summertime when you're running that AC, right? APS cites rising costs and outdated rates for a request increase. If it approved, it would take effect July 8th of 2026. Okay, guys, there's your fair warning. Check out the solar, man. I got a couple good recommendations for you for solar if you are interested in possibly doing that. Okay, guys, I'm going to cut it there because we're over time. But listen, I hope you understand that I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. That's not good news about having your electricity bill go up living in Phoenix. But I'm assuming in other cities, they're probably raising rates too, because that's what people do with inflation and operational costs, et cetera. But there's many ways around it. Maybe look for the positive silver lining. Like maybe there's some solar you can buy. I don't know. That's for your specific situation. But that's one thing that's not positive. But I'm going to report it here. But there are a lot of positive things happening in the city as well today. And of course, you have the side of the fence that says, don't buy right now, wait. You have another side of the fence that says you should jump in and buy right now because you can dictate terms and get the most leverage you've had since 2012 and buying a house right now in Phoenix. And if you wait to time the market, when will that be? No one knows. So anyways, I'll let you chew on that, marinate on that. Call me with any questions, 480-660-5974. Until next Tuesday, I will see you then, guys, and keep it classy, Phoenix. All right. There's my Anchorman quote of the day. See you guys next Tuesday.